Hey, bonfire. Oh. The ultimate bonfire. Oh god, no. You think by now he'd be good at lighting bonfires and shit like this wouldn't happen. This is a shitty payment. I don't think you can burn this place much more than it's already been burned. I think I chose my ending too on accident. Yeah, I did. Didn't mean to do that. Actually, that's probably the one I would have went with anyway. Because you can actually choose your ending. You can either take the dark path or the light path, which I don't really understand. I gotta say, it's an incredibly underwhelming ending, though. Holy shit, like, insanely underwhelming. Like, I really feel like they dropped the ball there. Like, I mean, if you're gonna have that much time invested in the game, give me an ending that's longer than 30 seconds. And it's just not me getting caught on fire. So, that was a major disappointment. So, anyway, we are done with Dark Souls. I think we ended at, like, what, level 103, 102, something like that. Now is when I normally give my review of the game, talk about what I like, what I didn't like, how much I think you should spend on it, give it a rating, etc., etc. When I first, when Dark Souls started going around, I had heard about Demon Souls. I'd heard about Demon Souls pretty early on. I heard about it before it even had an American import. One of the forums that I was reading was like, oh, you got to play this game. It's called Demon Souls, but you have to import it, and it's all in Japanese, but it's worth it because it's really damn good. And I wasn't a big, I've never been a, well, I haven't been a big console gamer like in the last decade. And I was like, oh, this sounds like a good game, but I'm going to wait. And then they did actually translate it, and I hem and hawed, and I never ended up buying it. I kept seeing the GameStop, and I kept not buying it, because I'm really bad at finishing console games. That's the other thing. I know me. I buy a console game, I play it for 2 to 3 hours, and I never touch it again. So I kept talking myself into buying it. Well, Dark Souls was coming out, and of course it was getting hype from the people who knew about Demon Souls. And I am leading somewhere with this, by the way. And I'm making the story long because credits are usually for frickin' ever these days. So, Demon Souls came out, and, you know, I kind of watched some people play it once in a while. But at the time, I was like, I don't really want to pick it up just yet. But I started watching more and more people play it. I watched a few people, like, speedrun it. I've watched people be absolutely terrible at it. One person in particular has a... actually, if you watch it, Maximus Black, he has a rage through of this game. You have to have a lot of patience because he... I'm going to try to put this lightly. He's not good at the game and he doesn't learn. And to be honest, and don't take this the wrong way, even though this could definitely be going the wrong way, he kind of proved that you don't really have to get good at the game to beat it. Because he pretty much just kept doing the same thing over and over until he just won. So, if you have the patience, then you can beat it. Which I give him props, though, for two big things. One, actually beating the game, despite him raging hard on it. But the other thing is he didn't look up cheats. He didn't look up information. I totally give major props to that. He didn't use NPC help, etc. Anyway, we're getting off topic. So I watched a bunch of playthroughs like that, and I finally was like, you know what, I want to buy this game. You have to understand I'm very cheap. I mean thrifty. So I bought it on Xbox, and I played it at work. Like whenever I was on lunch or on break, I'd play it at work. And I got to, believe it or not, this is embarrassing to say, I got to Gaping Dragon and could not beat him. The main reason was because I built almost entirely for stamina. And by the time I got to him, I was using a spear, of course. My demo was awful. I didn't have the Drake Sword. And I couldn't get his tail to cut off because I couldn't aim the spear right and the damage was so bad. And the tail is the only thing that ever really killed me on that fight. 2 times I got him like super low and he hit me with a tail and pretty much one-shot me. So I kind of stopped there, and Dark Souls went on sale for like $8 on Amazon. I was like, oh shit, I gotta pick this up. So I bought it, and well, now you've seen the results of that. My point is, this game is hyped to hell. So when I played it, I expected to not be blown away at all. I expected to be disappointed. Credits are already over, of course. The one time I talked forever. But oh, I think this is just the beginning again. I'll talk over this. Except don't.
Yes, indeed.
Or maybe it is different.
The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land...
No, this is the same one. Pretty sure.
The undead are
okay, yes, it's definitely the... Anyway, so I'll talk over her. Because this is just starting my new Game Plus automatically, which I'm not going to start. I might do a stream on this. Anyway, so I was expecting to be underwhelmed, to be honest. Because the more hype a game gets, the more I kind of am skeptical. I have to say this game lived up to expectations. In fact, probably exceeded them. Ah, sweet, I have my armor on. So, I've got to say this game was incredibly good. Despite my run-ins, of course, with frustration, which I guess is typical. It's the way this game works, is a lot of frustration. So I got to say, it's really, really damn good. The combat feels really good. It's really slow, but for the most part, I think it works. It's definitely slower than what I'm accustomed to. By the way, I think that is the person we get the soul from later. I didn't realize that. I didn't really note that it was the same armor and all that. Anyway, so the combat was really good. And let's talk about the difficulty. The one thing I will say is grossly overhyped is the difficulty. Man, I did not expect the credits to go by that fast. From Software is a really small studio, so I should have known that and not did my huge diatribe at the beginning. Anyway, I'll try to make it semi-short. But the difficulty is way over-exaggerated. It's hard-ish. It's very punishing. It's a decent combination, a good combination of hard and punishing, but it's not really that hard. Honestly, the mistakes I see people make are they run in and they don't pay attention. They're just spamming R1 and hoping for the best, or spamming R2. It's just not that difficult if you're slow and steady. You learn from your mistakes. You watch what the enemies do. You learn how to counter them. It's not really that difficult. Again, it's harder than most typical games these days, but I don't think it's that hard. With that said, I think it is the right amount of difficulty. Like it's not like over the top. It's not being hard just to be hard. Games like I Want to Be the Guy. That's complete. Like that's just ridiculous. Like they're hard just to, whoa, we did get a lot of souls. We have 127,000. Anyway. That game was hard just for the sake of being hard. It didn't have good... I mean, it doesn't have good mechanics. It's just, oh, random spike shot out of that apple. Oh, and you died. You had no way to know. That's just cheesy death. Which, of course, that's kind of what that game is going for, is just trolliness. It's not going for high skill levels. So I think it's the correct amount of difficulty. So when they say they're not trying to make Dark Souls 2 harder, I think I'm fine with that. I think if they keep the difficulty level the same, I'm fine. It'll just be in a new area. And I also, well, I was going to talk about the Spectre thing and having somebody help you. I'm still totally against that, by the way, for what it's worth. I feel like if you beat a boss and you have an NPC with you, or even worse, another player, that extremely cheapens the victory. Well, it's in the game. It's in the game. You're just using the tools the game gave you. That's true. But if I were to beat Doom with the cheat code, which is like I forget what it is, ID, whatever it is, then I'm using the tools in the game and I beat the game, so therefore I beat it. Obviously, using NPCs and people is not cheating. It's not that extreme. But again, in my opinion, that just very much lessens the victory. Now, obviously, a lot of people disagree because I read on the forums all the time. It's like, oh, I beat this boss easy using my friend who helped me, or oh, I just used Solaire and he kept them distracted while I killed the boss. So, I mean, I don't know, that's completely distracting a lot of the fun and the difficulty for me. But anyway, that's just a personal preference. The music's really good. The graphics and the art styles were really good overall. Some of the art, or some of the, like the backgrounds were kind of crappy JPEGs looking things. But for the most part, it looked really good. The bosses looked really interesting. I love the way the levels build together. I really hate that I went on that huge thing at the beginning now, but I love how all the levels like interact. or intersect. Like you find this hidden door, it's like, oh, this actually takes me back here, and then you get another vantage point to see the areas that you were, or the areas you're going, and you start to see how this world or this area you're in, it all interacts. It's not just a bunch of completely separate zones that you travel from zone to zone. So that is really cool. It makes it very immersive. The story seems cool. Again, I'm okay with the whole, you have to put the story together yourself. Maybe it takes multiple playthroughs because you have to do things differently. Reading item descriptions, things like that. I think that's cool. I quite like that. Just overall, this game is just really, really good. And it absolutely met my expectations, even though I did have lower expectations because it was getting so much hype. I will say that the difficulty is overrated, and I'm not just saying like, oh, difficulty is overrated. This game was easy because I'm a badass. Even though I am a badass, just to be clear, I don't think the game is that difficult if you're not dumb and just run in and smash. Which maybe that was part of the difficulty. Maybe that's why a lot of people who didn't grow up with older games are used to just running in and spamming their attack and against 5 or 6 enemies and winning. So maybe that is part of that, because people had to kind of reacclimate themselves to that. So I knew I needed to be careful, so I did. And I tend to be cautious anyway. So anyway, I gotta say this, I needed some time to kind of chew it over. But I gotta say, this game might actually make it into my top 10 of all time, which is saying quite a bit because I've played a shitload of games. I had to think on that. There was some rough spots for sure. The camera is balls. It wasn't as terrible as, say, Ninja Gaiden, but the camera sucks. The focusing system sucked. Jumping puzzles or jumping areas where you have to time your jump in a game with the really shitty jump mechanics is really bad idea. The PvP I could not give two shits less about, and they didn't really try to force you into it too much in this one, that's fine by me because I don't give a damn. I did a few PvP battles, and it was okay. It was definitely nothing to write home about. But yeah, overall, definitely goes high on my list. One of the big things that's telling to me is when I'm looking up stuff, when I'm not playing, just looking up items and item descriptions, and trying to figure out which weapon do I want to use, and talking to other people about it, and strategizing about what weapons and what armors to wear. That tells me a lot that I'm actively discussing the game and thinking about strategies outside of it. I think that speaks very highly of it. So yeah, as far as a rating, I'd give this game a 9. If they could fix the camera issues, if they can fix other niggling things like targeting is awful, and some additions like making the keyboard not terrible, because the keyboard mouse, one, I'd be able to aim easier, and two, I could do things like holding my shield up and actually moving around without focusing, because a lot of times you get screwed because of that. So if they could fix those things, it could easily go to a 9.5 with Dark Souls 2, but we shall see. But yeah, the DLC was a lot of fun. Like, it feels like if I would have bought the game full price and the DLC was like 15 bucks, I would feel like I would have absolutely got my money's worth. And despite my complaining during Manus, I think it was an overall fun fight. And if I would not have been so stubborn and actually spent more time thinking, okay, how do I deal with this specific problem, I could have beaten him easier. So yeah, again, overall, a really good game. A 9 rating I would give it. As far as price, you could probably get this game pretty easy now, but it's absolutely worth 60 bucks. Without question, it's worth full price. So any price you can get under that, or even at that, is a steal. I absolutely suggest you try this game out. If you think you have the patience and you're not just going to run in and rage quit, I think this game is an incredibly enjoyable, incredibly rewarding experience. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching this Let's Play. If I do a New Game Plus run, if I stream it, I will probably record it, and in that case, I will probably also upload it. But you're probably aware if that exists already by the time you hear me talking about it. Anyway, I've rambled on for far longer than I should have. Thank you guys again very much for watching. Leave comments in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this LP. And I will see you next time.